Hi friends, it's Dr. Jennifer here with you today, and we're just going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about stress and the impact that it plays on your lymphatic system, or it has on your lymphatic system and your immune system, because this is a huge problem, especially in today's world. So I see more and more physical issues popping up due to stress. So let me tell you a little bit about my history. Now, prior to becoming a naturopathic doctor and a lymphedema specialist, I worked in mainstream medicine. I was under stress every single day, dealing with emergency situations, working for multiple medical doctors. It was a stressful, nursing is a stressful career. I loved it because I loved helping people. And so once I transitioned into functional medicine, I kept seeing stress too, not just with myself, but with my clients. And I started to think, maybe the stress is what was causing the disease process. I wasn't for sure, but I noticed a trend with my clients, a trend that each one struggling with whether it was cancer, diabetes, heart disease, Lyme disease, they all seem to be really, really stressed out all the time. And I thought, well, maybe it's just because of the diagnosis syndrome, and that just kept them into the state of chronic stress. But as I spent more time with the clients, I soon realized that their whole life has been stressful. Many of these patients had a history, a medical history, and a past history of trauma and abuse, from just verbal abuse from parents or spouses to physical abuse. I've seen it all pretty much. And so it really made me start to think about myself. And I noticed that when I was under a lot of stress and going to school for 10 and 11 years and exams and working and being a single mom, I was under a lot of stress. I felt physically ill most of the time. And with me, when I am stressed out, it hits my lungs. I have shortness of breath. And then my digestive system is a wreck. Many times I get headaches. I almost feel like I have the flu. And I'm sure many of you feel that way as well. So I started to think, well, maybe it's the chronic disease came from the stress, and I was dead on. I actually went back to school to become a psychologist, and I took years of training in traditional psychology. And then I was introduced to New German medicine, recall healing, emotion code. These are amazing tools that practitioners like myself and clients can use for themselves to help them heal from this emotional trauma that they have carried around day after day, month after month, year after year, that has actually broken down systems in their body. And so as a practitioner, I think it's so important that we help clients to identify the emotional roots to their disease process. And so that is my purpose in putting together this video for you, to talk about the impact that when you have stress, how it can hit any organ or gland of the body. Now with me, I told you that when I'm stressed out, I feel it in my lungs and in my gut. The fact that I feel it in my gut tells me that it suppresses my immune response. And I have found that most people with chronic stress has a lowered immune response. And that's why science tells us that if you're under chronic stress, you're more at risk for infections, for flu-like symptoms, for colds. So you're just sicker because of that lowered immune response. So you might think, well, why is that? Why does my immune system go down when I'm under stress? Well, because 70 to 80% of your immune system's in your gut. And your gut is really considered your second brain. You have tons of neurotransmitters in there. And so it can affect your serotonin levels, your adrenaline, you can and affect nitric oxide. I mean, there's so much that can be impacted when your gut is inflamed. And if the emotional stress is what's triggering that inflammation, do you think that just working on the inflammation is enough? It's not. You have to get to the root of the problem. And so many times the root of the problem is the stress. And I have seen this day after day, year after year in my practice. People who want to completely heal and not have reoccurrence of chronic disease process, they have to deal with the emotional components to the disease. And so I hope to help you understand the importance of this. So when you have emotional stress, now acute stress is different. Acute stress will save you. Acute stress is where when you are fearful, if someone's trying to attack you, where your blood will rush to your extremities so that you can get out of there, it can save you. It is not the acute stress that's the problem. It is the chronic stress, day after day after day, of worry, of fear, of anger, of resentment, holding on to that, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. What happens in the body, your brain is constantly just trying to protect you. It really doesn't care if you're happy or not. And so if your brain fears more trauma because you go out into the public, your brain may download that emotion into the body and create inflammation like fibromyalgia. It can also cause diabetes by increasing blood sugar levels because it keeps you ready to fight. Diabetes is a emotional issue that has to do with protecting yourself and always being on the defense. And so you'll notice that a lot of diabetics' personalities are like that. They're always ready to fight. They're always defending themselves. They're always ready to go. Sometimes diabetes comes from loss of the sweetness in their life. They could have lost their mother or lost a loved one, and that sugar in the blood kind of feeds that loss. So it's important to know the emotional connection with the different diseases. I had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma patient that had tumors in his neck. I had another one that had it in the axillary and in the abdomen. And both of these individuals had the different emotions associated with the same disease process. So it was interesting to me that the one with the tumors in the neck and the cervical region of the lymph nodes felt like he could never speak his truth. And so your voice comes from your throat and up out. And he felt like he couldn't speak because it was hurt other people. And so his body caused a tumor to form in that area. And as we started to work on the emotional component, you can see a reduction in the mass. The other client who had the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in the axillary and in the abdomen did a lot of emotional work because he felt like he was being attacked by people he loved and held dearly. And so the regional lymph nodes were affected, the axillary, and then all of the lymph nodes in the gut, which is sometimes symbolic of feeling like you've been sucker punched in the gut. Like, you know, you trusted this person, you let your guard down, and they just hit you in the gut. He had tumors the size of softballs in his abdomen. And so doing that work helped to stop the brain from creating conditions like this in his body to protect him. So symptoms, you can look at the symptoms that you have in your body and it can connect you to the emotion associated with that. Or you can find the emotion, like if you know that you just hold so much anger and resentment, you can find that in the organ or gland associated to it. So listen to your body. Your body will send you the messages that you need in order to heal completely and wholly. And so I hope this has helped you to understand a little bit more about the stress and the role it plays on your immune system. And I hope it's encouraged you to do something about it. We have lots of therapies here at Right Way Health and Wellness that can help you. You don't even have to come into the office. You can actually do this virtually with our therapist here. So there's things like emotion code, where we teach you using kinesiology how to identify trapped emotions in your body. We use EVOX technology, which can be done virtually as well, and it's using voice remapping technology. There are so many things that you can learn to help yourself and help your loved ones using essential oils, Bach flowers, LED therapy. So these are all simple, inexpensive tools that you should know about. So contact us at Right Way Health and Wellness, 404-474-2100, or you can go to our website at rightwayhealthandwellness.com and talk to one of our therapists here, and we will be happy to serve you in any way we can. God bless you. Have a great day.